This is part two in our series of getting a small business website in under 1 week for under $100. In part one, we asked you to think about your website, what's the purpose of it, and then draw out a basic site map for your site so you would understand what goes on your website. Now in part two, we're going to cover two things, getting a domain name and setting up a hosting account. We're going to set you up a WordPress website, not a blog, but a website. WordPress is a free online open source software that's not just good for blogs, it's also good for websites. And you don't have to do any installation yourself. We're going to show you how to do it with just one click of the mouse. The first issue is, do you have a domain name of your own? For example, mine is themarketingspot.com. By the way, as you see my website here, this is a WordPress website. It is built on WordPress. If you already have a domain name, just put that in your back pocket for a little bit while we set everybody else's domain name up. If you don't have a domain name, you're going to have to register a new domain name, and you're going to have to use a site that registers domain names for you. Now, you can do hosting and domain name at the same time, or you can do them separately. Most of the time, I like to keep them separate. I keep my domain names on one site, and then I host them on another site. It's just a personal preference. If you're just going to have one domain name, one website, then it's okay to do your hosting and your domain name on the same site. The question becomes, where? Probably the most popular company to register a domain name is GoDaddy. Now, that's where I have most of my domain names registered. You don't have to do it here, but they're very popular. You can get them very cheap. It's important to know, though, you do not have to host your website at the same place you have your domain name. You can do them on different sites. Just because you register your domain name at GoDaddy doesn't mean you have to host your site with GoDaddy, although GoDaddy does offer hosting for WordPress. If you don't have a domain name, the first thing to do is search for one in that little search box right there. You'll want to search for the domain name you want. For example, I will just search myxyzsite.com. And you don't have to type in the .com, it'll automatically do it for you. And surprise, surprise, my XYZ site is available. Now you'll also see that you can register some additional domain names with the .info, .net, .org, and some other extensions. Whether or not you do that is up to you. It's your personal preference. If you don't think another business or another site will try to draw your customers away to a similar sounding domain name, it's okay not to register those additional domain names. It's probably safe, though, to go ahead and register the .net or the .biz extensions in addition to your .com site. The one thing I don't like about GoDaddy is when you proceed to checkout, they will try to sell you more and more stuff. They almost set up a sales obstacle course for you to get through in order to get the one domain name that you want for $10. So go ahead and navigate through the obstacle course as best you can if you're using GoDaddy. And by the way, I've talked with several web developers, and most of them seem to like GoDaddy for domain name registration because it is inexpensive. Now it's time to get a hosting account. As I said, I like to keep my domain names and my hosting separate. Now, if you do register your domain name on GoDaddy.com, they'll give you the opportunity to set up your hosting account. You can do that if you want, but make sure you install WordPress if you do. Remember, we are setting up a WordPress website. Also remember, for reference, we're using the website wordpress.org, not wordpress.com. WordPress.com is a place to set up free blogs. We're going to use the WordPress software to set up a free website, other than the amount you have to pay for your domain name and for your hosting account. Now, which hosting company should you use? At WordPress.org, they list several of their approved hosting companies. And you can see that GoDaddy is one of WordPress's approved hosting companies. This is good because these companies install WordPress for you with one click. You will not have to load the software up onto the website. The hosting company does it for you. Now, I like to use Bluehost. It's where I have my websites hosted. The reason I like Bluehost is because it's very easy. The installation is one click and boom, it is installed and you're ready to go. I'll show you how to do that shortly. The main reason, however, I like Bluehost is because you can host up to 1,000 websites on one hosting account. That's right. I have several websites hosted on one hosting account, and I do it for about $90 a year. So we're going to proceed as if you are using Bluehost as your website hosting company. If you do decide to use Bluehost, I have a link on my blog at themarketingspotblog.com to sign up for a hosting account there. It's an affiliate link. If you click that link, I will get a little piece of the action there and I'll make a few bucks on it. But you don't need to use it. You can just go to bluehost.com. Once you get to bluehost.com, you can hit the Sign Up Now button, and it will ask you if you need a domain or you already have a domain. If you have not yet registered your domain name, you can do it right now and set up your hosting account at the same time on bluehost.com. It's okay to do it, especially if you've just got one domain name, you don't think you're going to mess around with other websites. You can just go ahead and click the I need a domain button and next, and it will do the searching for you, just like we did on GoDaddy. Then you'll just fill in all your information and you'll set up your account. If you already have a domain name, just enter it in this space here and it will take you to that same registration screen that you saw. Once you get your hosting account set up, you'll want to log into the cPanel or the control panel at Bluehost. And now we're going to install WordPress so that you can get your site up and running. To do that, you scroll down to the Software and Services area and click on Simple Scripts. Down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the script list and then you'll see WordPress. Click on WordPress. Here you'll see some information on WordPress, including the current version. But if you have not been using WordPress previously, you don't really care about that, so just click Install Now. We're almost there. We're almost ready to install WordPress. First, a couple of other questions. Now, I'm going to install WordPress on a domain name that I've had registered for a while, but I'm not using. It's Power to the Small Business. That's the name of a podcast I do, but I'm going to give it its own website today. I've named it Power to the Small Business. I'm going to generate random administrator usernames or passwords. However, you can specify your own password and you can automatically create a new database, which go ahead and leave that one checked. Click the I have read the terms and conditions and then click the complete button. And like magic, you now have a website. Let's check it out. And that's the standard template that you first get when you create a WordPress website or blog. In our next session, we'll learn how to change the theme, the look, and start adding some content. But wait, what if your domain name is not registered at the same site where you host your account? For example, you have your domain name at GoDaddy and your hosting account on Bluehost. That's okay. All you have to do now is go back to GoDaddy, go to your domain manager right here at My Domains, and enter the servers for Bluehost.com, which Bluehost will give you when you sign up. I recently did that for one of my name sites, jarrett.net. Under your domain manager, you click on that particular domain name, and then you click on the name servers, and you change them to the correct name servers. That's it. Your website is now up and running and ready for content. That's what we'll cover in the next segment of this series on getting a small business website in under a week for under $100. Pretty simple, huh? Make sure you're subscribed to the Marketing Spot blog and you'll get part 3 in this series on getting a website. We'll show you how to change your look and add content to your brand new website. My name is Jay Ehret. My company is The Marketing Spot, located at themarketingspot.com.